Jai friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Reality check is not amongst them. They tend to live in a fool's paradise. This exercise or this show of raw sea power, unbridled sea power has nothing to do with Pakistan. America has done this in the past and I'm happy. I knew that India would never accept this, but I'm happy that formally Dr. Jaishankar, our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, has said it. Jai friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. What the Indian Navy has done, ladies and gentlemen, is earth-shattering, or should I say, ocean-shattering. In the Arabian Sea, a part of the Indian Ocean region or the AOR, the Indian Navy has deployed two carrier battle groups. One, INS Vikramaditya, and two, INS Vikrant. Now, what is a carrier battle group? A carrier battle group is essentially, when an aircraft carrier moves, it does not move alone. A carrier battle group is submarines. It is the aircraft, on the aircraft carrier. It is the aircraft above. It is the destroyers, the frigates, everything. There is an ecosystem actually that moves with the aircraft carrier. Now, there are two reasons for this ecosystem. Let me explain. I will not say technicalities. This is very, very basic knowledge. I'm not a Navy man. I'm an Army man, but yet I keep on reading and I have friends in the Navy. And essentially what it is this. An aircraft carrier, while the most potent weapons platform on Earth, conventional weapons that is, it is the most potent, right? There is nothing bigger or more fearsome than an aircraft carrier anywhere on Earth. I'm discounting nuclear missiles, which is why I said conventional, though nuclear missiles are also carried by aircraft carriers. And aircraft carriers are also powered in many cases by nuclear engines, but that apart, conventionally speaking, in conventional conflict, there is no bigger platform than a carrier, an aircraft carrier. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what India has done is it has put two out, both at the same time. So there is integration happening between both the carriers and the entire battle group. There are Rafales which are flying or which have flown in this exercise. There are MiG-29s which are taking off from the deck of both these aircraft carriers. Vikrant is indigenous. Vikramaditya is old Russian, now Indian. And we are hopefully going in for a third aircraft carrier. And I'll just tell you what the Indian Navy has to say about it. And then I will tell you what has happened in Pakistan and China and how both the countries have reacted. Very interesting. So, the seamless operational integration of the two aircraft carriers, INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant, as well as fleet ships and submarines, is a powerful testament to the pivotal role of sea-based air power and India's role as the preferred security partner in the Indian Ocean and beyond. This is spokesperson, Indian Navy. The exercise involved integrating two aircraft carriers, Vikramaditya and Vikrant, along with a diverse fleet of ships, submarines and aircraft. In a show of operational capability, the Indian Navy Saturday undertook a massive two aircraft carrier battle group, CBG, operation on the Arabian Sea, comprising more than 35 aircraft. So, the aircraft carriers, they say, served as a floating sovereign airfields, providing a launch platform for a wide array of aircraft, including MiG-29K, fighter jets, MH-60 Romeo, Kamov, Sea King, Chetaks, and advanced light helicopters. These mobile bases can be positioned anywhere, allowing for increased mission flexibility, timely response to emerging threats, and sustained air operations to safeguard our national interest across the globe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you what this is about, okay? Why did India do this? What is the reaction of Pakistan? What is the reaction of China? You've heard the official statement of the Indian Navy. Now, the Indian Navy, being a highly disciplined force, is not going to say more than that. And this statement of the Indian Navy must have been thought through, must have been approved at the topmost echelons, and then they've given it out as a matter of fact. And everything is a matter of fact, Army, Navy, and Air Force. They'll give you a bland statement, all right? They'll just give you a bland statement and you'll say, yeah, what is this? Should have been more aggressive. No, they don't speak, they do. And I'll tell you what is it behind those statements. Let me analyze the thoughts behind the statement. And this analysis is mine alone. So I'm not saying that the Indian Navy is thinking like this, but in all probability, this is what the Indian Navy is thinking. That's what I'm saying. Now, number one, the Arabian Sea. Now, Pakistan seems to think, obviously, that, who's there? There is no China there in the Arabian Sea. So this exercise is aimed at us. That is what Pakistan thinks. That Uh, Pakistan can be accused of a lot of things, but a reality check is not amongst them. They tend to live in a fool's paradise. This exercise or this show of raw sea power, unbridled sea power, has nothing to do with Pakistan, at least not directly. Pakistan's navy is an apology. It has a few fishing boats. And if they don't sink, I think it's going to be a miracle. Pakistan Navy is nothing to write home about. It's a farce. All right. Not that the Pakistan Army is any better, but Pakistan Navy is really down in the dumps. Now, what I'm trying to say is that this is the Indian Navy's way of saying that this region, we are the boss. That's the first takeaway. Behind all those fancy English words, I just quoted the Navy spokesperson say, the intent is that we hold kinetic power and the right to exercise kinetic power. This is our backyard. So back off. This is the first statement. Second statement is that don't think that geographically China is not there, therefore China is not there. Pakistan is given Gwadar because Pakistan does not have the money, the planning, the intelligence, or the capability to create oblique run a Gwadar. So they had to outsource it. There was no option for Pakistan. Even if, Pakistanis, let us assume a vague scenario that Pakistan had $10 billion to spare, loose change, $10 billion. They could not have still made a Gwadar because they cannot. They do not have the capability, the simple capability to make anything worthwhile. It had to be the Chinese. So the Chinese came in. Now, Chinese ships dock at Gwadar regularly. And Pakistan is fast losing its sovereignty, and this is a concern for India. I've often said this before, and earlier when I started saying it, 5-7 years back, when I had come into the media in 2017, I think, or 2016, mid 2016, I used to say this, and a lot of people would just say that, no, Gaurav, I think you're overreacting. And today, those very same people say that, Gaurav, yeah, I think you made a lot of sense at that time. Earlier, our threat matrix was China to the east and Pakistan to the west. Okay? China to the east, Pakistan to the west. Ladies and gentlemen, increasingly, it is China to the east and China to the west. So what you have on your west, for a very long time, it's not going to remain Pakistan. It's going to become China. So the place that you think of as Pakistan has become a proxy of China. That's what I'm saying. So it might look that Pakistan is sovereign. It might look that Pakistan takes its own decisions. Yeah, sure, the Pakistani army takes the decision of which political leader to hang, which to imprison, which to beat, which political party to pull down, which to prop up. All those local decisions are taken by the Pakistan army with just FYI to the Chinese, but bigger decisions. Geopolitically, what is the game going to be? The access of Afghanistan, the access of the sea routes, the trade routes. All these bigger decisions are taken by China, and Pakistan has just sent a letter that this is for your information and action, please. I don't even think they had please, but here it is, go do it. And the Pakistani establishment wags its tail and does what the Chinese have asked. And they've done it earlier for the Americans, and today they're doing it for the Chinese. It's just a matter of a change in masters. Now, coming back to the point, why should India do this? India is messaging not only its enemies, but its friends. So this is a message essentially to China, not to Pakistan. Because when you pass a message to China, it automatically percolates to Pakistan. So there is no point in looking, and I'm talking geostrategically, there is no point in looking at Pakistan as a sovereign country, because it's not. If you're not economically sovereign, you can't be diplomatically or even militarily sovereign. Pakistan is dependent upon China for every single thing. They're dependent upon outside support, whether it's American, Saudi, UAE, etc. And the biggest benefactors that they have, who are willing to tolerate their nonsense and give them funds, that's China. And Pakistan has to listen to what their Chinese masters say. So this is a messaging to China. Yes, the Indian Ocean region, we have started pushing. Now, India will very shortly go in for a third aircraft carrier. The talks are in an advanced stage. India will go in for a third aircraft carrier. And this race with China is not ending anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also a message to our friends that there is a new sheriff in town, and the name of the sheriff is India. And what the Indians are going to do is, like-minded nations who have similar security concerns, India is there with you. This is the intent of this exercise, and to show the raw kinetic power of the Indian Navy. The punch of the Indian Navy, and trust you me when I say this, there is no bigger statement than an aircraft carrier, and here, these guys put out two of them. And not just aircraft carriers, they put out 2 carrier battle groups. They put it out there, they just put it out there in the Arabian Sea. And this has rattled the Pakistanis. Pakistanis they're furious here. They're saying that this is for us and India means to attack us. And, they overreact. All drama for the TV cameras. But, India wants to do this. And I told you that India does not want to attack Pakistan. There is nothing to take inside Pakistan. It's a broken, deadbeat country. Why would we attack Pakistan in the first place? But this is a message to China, indirectly, without saying it, that we know how to choke you in the Malacca. And don't think of the Indian Navy as anything less, because we are not. We can give you a whipping when push comes to shove. And I think here is what the Indian government should do. They should order the Indian Navy, because the Indian Navy will not do it on itself. It has to be ordered by the government, and when the government orders, take down a couple of Chinese ships. If we think that the Chinese are done with the Himalayas, no, they are not. They will continue their attempts to do salami slicing in the Himalayas. They will continue to push. We discussed this a few days back, 3-4 days back on Chanakya Dialogues about Uttarakhand. They're coming to Uttarakhand. Just across the border, in their own territory, they're building structures. They're pressurizing Uttarakhand. After this, they'll come to Himachal. When I say they'll come to Himachal, I don't mean come inside. I mean across the line of actual control. They'll start building structures. And I've seen the land there because I was posted there on the line of actual control. I was in a place called Shipkila, which is, there is a small town called Poo in Himachal Pradesh in Lahaul Spiti. And ahead of Poo is a place called Khab. And from Khab, you start climbing and you go to Shipkila. Takes 7 to 8 hours to get there on foot. It's an uphill climb like this. For 7 to 8 hours, you keep on climbing and then you reach Shipkila. And I was the company commander there. And I have been inside Tibet. I will not call it China. I've been inside Tibet. I've stepped over into Tibetan territory. And this much I know, that there is enough flat land there to build. And the Chinese will build. The Chinese will build there. They will build. They'll try to pressurize. How can you pressurize the Chinese? You can pressurize the Chinese by causing them damage in the oceans. Not in the Himalayas, in the oceans. Put pressure there. The pressure along the line of actual control will ease. Just sink a couple of their merchant vessels. Just to tell them that, the Malacca choke is real. They'll cry blue murder, and the Global Times will say that we are going to, maybe launch a couple of nuclear missiles, all that nonsense. But it's only going to be limited to Twitter and newspaper editorials. The Chinese will not do anything. Trust you me, just go and hit them. Hit them once or twice nicely to communicate a message and then step back and wait. The Chinese will do absolutely nothing. They talk big, right? They talk big, they don't do anything. And when you thrash them, they run. This is the truth about the Chinese, and we should do it. Now, number 2, coming to Pakistan, Ishaq Dar, their finance minister, he talks about Plan B. So he's just given a budget. And you know what he says Plan B is? You'll be surprised and you'll laugh. He says Plan B is self-reliance and standing on our 2 feet. Self-reliance and standing on our 2 feet. Inshallah, we shall achieve it. This is Plan B. I want to tell the Pakistani finance minister, sir, this is supposed to be Plan A. Any country, earning by the sweat of its brow, standing on its 2 feet, being self-reliant, this is Plan A. Begging is not Plan A. Begging should be Plan Z. This should be Plan A. You've got your plans mixed up, right? And look at the confidence of the Pakistanis. Bilawal Bhutto turns up and says that, we want to be part of BRICS. Bilawal Bhutto actually wants Pakistanis or Pakistan, to be part of the BRICS. Now, what are BRICS? BRICS, 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. These are fast-growing economies. These are fast-growing economies, some of the fastest-growing economies in the world. And a collection of these economies is called BRICS. And here Pakistan wants to be part of BRICS. Where do they get that confidence from? I do not know. What they smoke in the morning, I do not know. But whatever they smoke, man, we all want it. It's pretty potent because the Pakistanis say we want to be part of BRICS. We don't have money in the bank. We are broke. We don't have food to eat. We're going to default any moment, right? Our civil society is in a disarray. We have civil war on our streets. Our diplomacy is down the drain. Our economy has gone to the dogs, but we want to be part of BRICS. And I'm telling you, China will pursue this. I'm telling you today, China will pursue this. China will try to force Pakistan's entry into BRICS because China has this habit of creating these, these nations which are easy to control. And Pakistan gets bragging rights. Pakistan will say, I'm not saying that they are going to become a part of BRICS. I'm saying China will try. And let us say China succeeds and Pakistan does become part of BRICS. What is going to be Pakistan's contribution to BRICS? Its currency is like toilet paper. In fact, toilet paper, I can think of more practical uses of toilet paper than Pakistani currency. But the fact of the matter is, what is Pakistan going to do after it becomes a member of the BRICS? It'll just be a proxy for China. That is Pakistan's only use. Like, geostrategically, Pakistan's only use is that it borders Afghanistan. There is no other use of Pakistan. It's a useless country anyway. It produces nothing. It manufactures nothing. It has no great human potential. They keep on telling each other on their television shows that we have great potential. I have not seen that potential in 75 years, except for a few flashes of brilliance, which any country would have. There is no country that is without talent. And I'm sure Pakistan has brilliant people also. But the fact of the matter is we have not seen any proof of them rising as a nation, doing good for their people. Now, Pakistan wants to be part of BRICS because India is part of BRICS. That is Pakistan's only motivation. It does not know that if it does become part of BRICS, what is it going to do? But then Pakistan does not have to do anything. All they have to do is say yes, sir, to the Chinese. How tough can that be? BRICS countries are saying that we will trade in our currencies. So India will trade with Russia, and Russia will trade with India, and they'll trade with their own currencies, and maybe with South Africa, or with Brazil, or with China, etc. Who do you think wants to trade in Pakistani currency? Let me know. Do you think anybody would want to trade in Pakistani currency? As I said, it's worse than toilet paper. But Pakistan wants to become part of BRICS because India is part of BRICS. That's it. Copycats. And then China will want a country. China can't control South Africa. They can't control Brazil or Russia or India. They can't. China will want a slave country there. And which is that slave country? Which is the country that is willing to stand up and say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir? It's Pakistan. Anybody who throws a breadcrumb, Pakistan will go tail wagging. And this is exactly what the Chinese want. This is why the Chinese will try and push Pakistan into BRICS. And ladies and gentlemen, the final news for the day is that Dr. Jaishankar has said no to India joining NATO Plus. We covered it in the Chanakya Dialogues English a few days back, where we said that the West had offered, America had offered India that come join NATO Plus. So there is NATO, which is obviously North America and Europe, a bunch of these countries. It's a military alliance. And, they said we have countries who are friends. They're part of NATO Plus. And, these countries would be like Israel and other countries. India said no because India says we can manage the Chinese on our own. Thank you very much. We don't need your help. Number one, we do not need your help. Have fun. We can manage the Chinese on our own. What are you going to do? What is NATO going to do? Is NATO going to come to Galwan and fight with us against the Chinese? We don't want you to. It's our land. If we can't protect our land, we have no business asking anybody else for help. It's our land. It's our family. It's our home. And Indians have always known how to protect their land and their families. We'll do it. We don't need American help. And being part of NATO or being part of a security alliance, India refused to weaponize the Quad also. So ladies and gentlemen, we have refused to weaponize the Quad because once you're part of a military alliance, there will be senior partners and there will be junior partners, and you will be expected to toe the line. That is what will happen. You will be expected to toe the line. And who's the primary target of NATO? It is Russia. And the Russians are our old friends. I disagree with Russia. I disagree with the invasion of Ukraine. But Russia had valid reasons. And America has invaded countries on lesser grounds, on far, far lesser grounds. Like, for example, the invasion of Iraq. There were no grounds. Americans just made up some nonsense in the air that, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, and they displaced millions of people and killed hundreds of thousands. And Afghanistan had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. Yeah, sure, there were Al-Qaeda people there, but Afghanistan had no role, no hand in planning. The Taliban had no role or hand in planning 9/11, but they just destroyed two countries just like that. They just did it. Why? Because they could. America is angry and somebody has to pay. It does not matter. It does not matter if out of the 19 hijackers, 15 were Saudis. It doesn't matter. One Muslim country is as good as the other Muslim country, and since Saudis are our friends, oh yeah, all right, let's go and wipe Iraq out of existence. How can you trust such people? So this was also a direct, message to China that we don't need America. We can manage you ourselves. This is our family. This is our home. And if we want to sort you out, we'll sort you out, whether in the oceans or in the Himalayas. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this video. Please send in your questions and I would love to answer your questions. I'm back from Kashmir. I couldn't answer because of various logistical issues there and we were in a bit of a rush. But now I'm there. Please send in. I'll take 4 questions every single day and I'll attempt to answer all your questions on national security and geopolitics. Thank you very much for watching this video. Press like if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.